we're here today with Kathy Basel. And Kathy is she's with Vitality Code, that's the name of your practice.
Yes.
And you're a wellness coach and an energetic body facilitator. You work with energy medicine in effect.
I do, yes.
That's wonderful.
It's
Tell
integral.
me, what is a wellness coach? I've heard that term, but I've never seen one. What would you be doing for me if I were your client?
Right. So the whole term is holistic wellness coach, meaning that we take a holistic approach to creating wellness. I believe that we create vitality in our lives from the inside out. So just like your car, you want to be running on all four cylinders, the physical, the mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects.
That's good.
And then, it's funny because sometimes the men will say, well, I've got an 8-cylinder car. And I laugh and I say, I've got 12 cylinders that I teach in the course of wellness to help amp up our bodies and get them tuned up and running the way we want.
So the analogy with the car, I don't want to just wax the outside. I want to make sure the interior is good and the engine's running.
Precisely. Yeah, it's interesting. The place that I got certified from, it's got a model that was created 30 years ago called the Wellness Inventory. And the 12 dimensions include, it begins with self-responsibility and self-love, which is where we, oftentimes we put responsibility for our health or our lives outside of ourselves. It's about taking control again of our health. But the 12 aspects are really integrative in that eating and moving, which oftentimes people, when they're looking to tune up their health, they think about diet and exercise. Those are 2 out of the 12 aspects. But when you think about having 12 now, ways to energize your life, it's really becomes a full model to work with.
So is it something where if I were coming to you, you talk to me through each one of these? Or is it, in that idea of holistic, it's kind of like, where are you starting from? And
Right.
so teach me baby steps so that I can get to those 12?
It's that kind of thing. There's an assessment that we'll start with online, and you can measure how you rate in each of the 12 different dimensions. It helps you prioritize where we're going to focus first. It's interesting because I believe that the body needs to be tuned up at the same time that we need to focus on the mental and emotional aspects that are blocking us from the natural, vibrant health and abundant energy that we should have all the time.
So do you, we've interviewed a number of practitioners, and I'm a big believer that, much starts with those emotions and thought.
Yeah.
So in chiropractic, they'll teach you there are only 3 sources of disease. It's thoughts, traumas, and toxins. So it sounds to me that you're approaching it from that same aspect that says we have to get all of these in tune. And when they're all singing together, the body is vibrating at a more essential, higher vibration, more, it's that vitality code, right?
Well, I love the word you just used, vibration. So the 12 dimensions on my scale, it's self-responsibility and self-love. Breathing, sensing, eating, moving, feeling, how you're communicating with others, how you play and work, how you find intimacy, and ultimately how you find meaning and transcending. So when you think about the most vibrant people that you've met in your life, oftentimes they're plugged into something bigger than themselves. They're on a mission. They're plugged into their gifts
Their
and
purpose.
Yeah. So to me, vitality is created from the inside out in that way.
Oh, that's wonderful. So why does someone start with you? How would I find you? Other than the fact that I know that you're working with various networks, but what causes someone to go, I need a coach? To me, what you're doing is, it's life coaching, but incorporates the physical.
Exactly. And I believe the physical, apparatus of our bodies, it can be the instrument by which we change our lives, and vice versa.
Oh,
so
good.
when we move our bodies, like, it's interesting when you talk about diet and exercise. Diet is 90% of the formula. They are 10% exercise. But oftentimes people just aren't moving enough that get them opening the channels. So to answer your question, why would people come? To me, oftentimes I just believe that we all have a calling to live a big, bold, beautiful life.
Oh,
and
that's gorgeous.
Yeah, so when you're plugged in on that level, that's like a level 10, right?
Yeah.
And oftentimes people are really vibrating at like a level 5. So it might not be actual symptoms of disease quite yet.
Just not
it might
a
just
joy
be
of living.
No joy in their lives, feeling low in energy, just kind of lost or stuck, or maybe frustrated with the way things just aren't panning out for them quite yet. So it's fascinating. And the body becomes a reflection for all those things that can be going wrong in the life.
Oh, I believe that to be true. What we obsess upon, we get, right? So as I worry and I fret. So do you find that if I were to come to you as a client, relatively healthy at my point in life, how would you assess where I really am metabolically?
Yeah.
I mean, because really my body's a reflection of my brain, right? And all
Yeah.
the other aspects of those 12 you mentioned.
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that. And it amazes me because a lot of times people will pay money to look good rather than to feel good because it just doesn't measure up in our lives. So
And we use bad things sometimes to look good. It actually don't help you.
So I've got this great new toy. It's a monitor. In addition to a lot of the biometrics that it measures as far as if you're hydrated, how much muscle mass you have in relation to fat and visceral fat, it also will come up with an indication of your metabolic age. So by that, you think of metabolism.
Right.
So that's how efficiently your body is running. Is it taking the food that you're ingesting and making energy efficiently, but also, as you said, with the chiropractic, is it emitting the toxin efficiently as well? So oftentimes,
So all systems on cue.
yeah, exactly.
How's it measuring? Do I step on that barefoot?
Yeah, you step on it barefoot, and it's actually a proportion because it's measuring all those different things. We'll put in the age, the height, the weight, if you're athletic, those kinds of things. It measures, it's just a calculation between the different measurements of the ratio of your lean muscle compared
Your body
to
fat.
Exactly.
Is it looking at body temperature, heart rhythm, all those things you pick up in the pulses, or is
yeah,
it really?
there's other pulses that are going into it, not necessarily a couple of those, but yeah, it's truly fascinating because most people people will be 50 years old, step on the scale and see they're actually internally running like a 70-year-old.
Yeah,
and I would
that
say,
shortens the lifespan.
yeah, and it's most people, as you said, earlier when we were speaking about stress, we don't realize how many different ways stress is coming into our lives.
Maybe diet, stress in our food. If you think about so much of what we do anymore is processed. They talk about if you want to be healthy, eat from the outer aisles of the grocery store,
Yeah.
not those inside.
Yes.
But that's where comfort food is, right? So a lot of people head straight for those inner processed aisles, and that's a stressor
Yes.
on the body.
Yeah.
It's not just about looking lean and looking good,
Right.
We get caught up in that, but it's really that metabolic age.
Yeah, it's fascinating and it's fun. It's kind of like the law of attraction as applied to wellness coaching because, as you said, where your attention goes, your energy will flow. Mm-hmm. So oftentimes, again, the diet and exercise, which is typically what we think of when we want to tune up our health, it's including diet and deprivation, things that are restrictive, and it's from the outside in. So when I was saying about I love your vitality, it's fun. The process becomes fun because we're going to change the paradigm. We're going to focus on creating wellness, not on slimming down the body and these hard work kind of things. Yes, there's going to be the movement where, yes, we're going to clean up the diet and exercise, but we're going to now energize by focusing on the things that bring you joy, that create really healthy relationships in your lives, the fulfilling work that you've been wanting to do, and ultimately the dreams perhaps that you put on the back shelf.
Oh, it's like coming to you is for many people, it's like giving them back that hope and that joy that they had as a child. When you still dreamed, right? The world was a land of possibility, and you look at that, and that's when you look at someone and say, oh, they're vital. And you see so many adults that have just kind of got into, well, this is as good as it gets.
Yeah. One of my role models, Barbara Marks Hubbard, she's 85 years old and one of the most vibrant people on the face of the planet. Anyone you'd want to meet, she's on a mission, and her mission is all about raising consciousness. But she travels around the world and keeps a schedule that most 30-year-olds would struggle to keep up. But it's that thing, the body will create itself based on, it's got a consciousness, right?
Pulls you forward in life.
Yeah. So if you've got this big, juicy goal, your body's actually going to create itself to support what it is that you are here to do.
So if I were to come to you as a client, and I'm just kind of lost, and I'm like, yeah, I'm here. I heard about this program, and so I'm checking it out. Where would you start? Would you start with that mental? Would you start with that?
Actually, we start out on two different tracks. So, it depends on the individual. First, we may go on a whole food cleanse, and I want to use that lightly because what we're just going to do is take out some of the things, as you said earlier, some of the foods that are robbing you of energy. And
that
it's
you may
amazing.
not know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm addicted to, but Yeah, they're kind of robbing.
And yeah, sugar is a big one with me. And it's funny because, I don't want to demonize food either,
Right.
even sugar, because we tend to go one extreme or the other. And I can tell you, I used to be a triathlete, and I ate a lot of sugar because
You could burn it off.
I was burning it off.
You bet. You're sweating, right?
Yeah, so
we don't. We
when
sit
you
on the
talk
couch.
about addictive foods like that, it's when we've got an overabundance of certain types of foods, and many people have food sensitivities that they aren't even aware of. So I've got a very simple process. A couple weeks we clear that out, and it's amazing because then you start to connect the dots on your own.
Start to see the lights come on, don't you?
Yeah. So people, it's cool because now I'm not putting some kind of rule on you of, oh, don't eat corn. Now it's like, oh, wow, when I eat corn, my ankles flare up or my joints begin to hurt. So now motivation isn't even part of the conversation anymore. It's just when you realize what it feels like to feel good again, you want that.
So I get the impression that a lot of what you're doing, it's counseling, but it's a lot of education. It's giving me the information I need to put me back in the driver's seat versus going to some guy who's going to, tell me what to do, but I don't know where to go with it beyond that.
Yeah, I believe ultimately, and it's a coaching technique, that we have the truth within us. So what I'm going to do is help you to guide you through, and there's a lot of information out there. So the last thing I want to be doing is loading on more information. We want to take all the information that you've been exposed to and help you pick the pieces and parts that are going to work for you and create a customized plan. Ultimately, it's a personalized journey just for you to get you back to health, but ultimately plugged into something that really brings you alive again.
So how would I interact with you? Do I come to you every week? Is it...
I'm glad you asked.
Good.
So one of the things I noticed is that when I thought about going to a health coach and sitting one-to-one and, reporting in like, oh, I had the cookie again, I didn't want to do that. So I'm all about community and connection and fun and joy.
Oh, that's well, you can tell by just talking with you. I love it.
So one of the things I did was create what I call Vitality Circles. And with small groups that are like-minded, all kind of on the same path, we come together and facilitate each other. That way it helps us to cement within ourselves that we know the answers. We're able to be in a space of helping others. And then we come together twice a month, one in person as a small group. The other one you'll get a one-on-one counseling because that's ultimately, we each have
Where
our
I
own
can
little
customize
block.
with you, right?
Right. We all have our own.
So it's an
little block.
empowerment group rather than a support group.
Yes.
I like that too.
Yes, for sure.
So, because oftentimes what you can get into is where you can hear the bad stories of failure, which then takes me down that path.
Right.
I get the impression in your circles, it's really about my success stories. It's
Exactly.
what did I discover, my ahas.
Yeah.
Which
We don't want to ignore the times that we step out of the plan, but we want to, all of its information. It's like, oh, cool. I just finished off the bag of chocolate covered, whatever's. and, what does that mean? So at what point in time was I triggered to have that? And,
that's good.
I don't want to go to blame and shame, that judgment ultimately. In all, if you want to throw one bag of bad juju over a life, it's really that judgment, the blame and shame and regret that will drag us down. And that's why I started doing the energy work too, because so much of we've taken on judgment since we were old enough to hear.
Right.
Probably
in the womb.
Yeah, I was going to say really
the first fight, right?
Yeah, truly. And it's amazing the energetic drains that we have because of the emotional triggers and whatnot that we are carrying within our bodies. We literally stuff it in our bodies to the point that it begins to weigh us down, literally weigh us down.
Can manifest as diseases.
Yeah.
So if I'm your client, is that energy work just part of my counseling session with you? If I come to you live, you're going to kind of determine where I'm at, what I need?
Exactly. And it's an individualized process. Some people, it's interesting. I thought more people would want more of the coaching, but oftentimes they'll go for the energy work first. I had a client, it was kind of funny because she had this belief that if she had rheumatoid arthritis, which is, I love rheumatoid arthritis because so much progress can be made.
Yeah, it's immune function.
Yeah. Between the eating and clearing up some of the emotion, we can make huge progress with that. But she had this limiting belief that if she gave up all the bad food, right, that we're judging as bad, that she'd have nothing to eat.
Oh.
So she was afraid she'd starve.
Yeah.
So we didn't do any food work at all. We started with the energy work, and she lost 9 pounds before she even began the process.
Well, you
So-
start to make different choices.
Yes.
You start to be drawn to different food groups.
Right,
And
right.
it's a natural process.
Your,
Oh, that's
your body
beautiful.
yearns for it. Once it gets that taste of feeling good, like, I want more of that.
Yeah. Well, you are the epitome of where you're taking people. You just have a glow about you and a joy about you.
This
and
is
you
my
don't-
passion.
I know.
It's my life.
But you know, that's so nice that you actually are there as that facilitator to help other people find that same joy and passion.
Yeah.
Because it's a rarity.
It is.
I'm sure people look at you and go, what are you taking? And it's like, life.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's available to all of us.
It
truly.
is. That's wonderful. Well, I'm glad you're here to show people how to unlock that. How would I, other than your website, do I call you? Is there intake process? What would I plan on if I want to come
Starting
see you?
at the website is a good place to go. The initial thing would be a conversation just like this to get to know each other. The beginning steps might be taking that wellness inventory to assess where you are and just kind of get some information there and really come visit.
So I go through a program with you and I get to where I'm feeling good, and then I just kind of negotiate with you. Do I want to see you once a month, every 3 months?
Yeah,
or,
so
you know.
depending, some people like the private, so that's coach, that's twice a month.
Twice a
That's
month.
twice a month. And I like to see people at least 6 months because it's truly about redesigning a lifestyle.
Mhm.
So we want to take out some of the negative beliefs that are
Right.
triggering habits and behaviors that aren't supporting our health and replace them with new ones.
Okay.
So it's a beautiful thing to commit at least to a 6 month process. Some people prefer to do it one-on-one with coaching, and others prefer the fun of the Vitality Circles. And that's a month-to-month kind of a thing. People will get 2 contacts every month, and I would love them to come in as a yearly commitment. But
Right.
you know, there's no commitment. People can come and try it out, and
But I can do that. I can decide, hey, I'm going to do 6 months with you, get myself.
Yeah.
So in 6 months, you can pretty well get someone tuned up.
Oh,
Is that what
yeah.
you're saying? Yeah. Okay. So I am at 6 month mark and I am feeling all like you.
Yeah.
I'm fit and happy. I could still choose to continue to go on with you, just as that, sometimes it's nice to plug back into that battery. And I can tell that you're just that live wire.
yeah, and when we tune up the body, it's going to ripple out into the other aspects of our life. So career, your relationships, the contribution you want to make in the world. So it can be.
So you can continue on. If I chose, I
Yes.
could continue on with a coaching.
Yes, I actually
relationship
also have
with
a life transformation coach degree.
I wondered if you didn't,
Yes.
because I can hear that a lot in you. It's
Yeah.
really about seeing everyone hit their full potential, their
Exactly,
dreams.
it is.
That's a wonderful thing. What a gift.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today.
It's
So if you
been
want
fun.
more information about Kathy's program, take a look at the link below. You'll go to her website and give her a call. Check it out. See how she might be able to help transform your life.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for joining. Thank you.